Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our Metal Gear year. And just want to say hello to everyone out there. And hello, Dora.
Hello.
Hello, Josh.
Hey.
So thank you for everyone who's been sticking around. I am going to dispel a little secret. I'm going to let you viewers in on something. The reality is when we record these game sessions, we do them in blocks. We don't record as you guys are seeing them. The reality is that all three of us, we go to school, we go to work, we have full-time jobs. So we can't upload these episodes as quick as we would like. And so we record them when we can get together. The reason I'm telling you this is because as we've been doing the show, I've been asking you guys for your feedback, for your guys' comments, and just letting us know what you guys think. And so many of you guys have been letting us in on your thoughts and your opinions. And I just want to let you know we are listening. It's just that it takes us a while to get back onto camera so we can respond to those. But I just want to say, first of all, first order of business, thank you for everyone who has sent us a message of support, and who has, given us your opinions on the game, because that's why we're doing this. We want to hear what you guys think about our, Metal Gear. That's the whole point of the show. So I really wanted to thank all you for that. And we're going to save a lot of your guys' feedback for the last episode of the show, but we're going to try to go ahead and work it into the episodes as we go along. And one other thing I wanted to address is in the last couple episodes, we had some technical difficulties where one of our microphones went out and it was a little wonky. And I just want to assure you guys that that's not going to happen again. We've completely overhauled our recording setup, so that is not going to be an issue anymore. Thanks for sticking around for that. Dora, were you knocking on that door over there?
Yeah.
Father and Stillman.
Come on, bro. I'm worried, bro.
I love it because it sounds like he's in there trying to take a shit. And you're just like, he's like, oh, give me a minute, I'm almost done in here.
Call me on the codec if you want to talk, man. Jesus. Raiden hates watermelons.
Fuck those watermelons. As I was saying before, guys, thank you again for sticking around with us. And another issue is we are going to try to speed up the production. I know that this is our Metal Gear year, and it looks like it's going to be our Metal Gear 5 years at this rate. Our goal is to maintain a level of quality and make sure that we are actually addressing the things that are going on screen and actually having a discussion about them rather than just speeding through it. The reality is we could just throw this on Twitch. We could do this as a stream. And, we can just be silly into the mic and just plow through these games. And, Dora, I think you know a little something about plowing through things.
Oh, I know a lot about plowing. I don't know about games.
But we want to be thoughtful, and we actually want to take our time with this series. So that's why we're uploading a little bit slower than we would like to. But speaking of feedback, one of the things that I want to address is that in a recent episode, we had a debate over the reveal of Raiden, the big switchover, the big quote-unquote controversy about the switchover from Snake to Raiden. And I asked you guys out there what you thought. And we had a little theory on the show that there wasn't actually any controversy because everyone you talked to, they were pretty cool about it. They weren't really upset that Raiden. They were just kind of like, well, it's weird, but there was no one upset. So I went out there and I reached out to you guys out there, and I got, some responses. Well, I got a lot of responses, actually. You guys were really cool about getting back to me on that. And I would have to say from what I got so far, and we're going to touch back on this in a later episode. This isn't the whole thing, but just to acknowledge it, I would say 99% of people were actually cool with Raiden when he first came out. And I feel very confident that our theory that everyone was pretty cool with the switchover, I mean, they weren't necessarily happy with it, but they weren't like, it didn't ruin their childhood. Right. I feel like our theory was pretty much confirmed by what you guys said. And it seems like the overwhelming opinion was that, and I think you guys said as Dora and Josh, that you really thought that Raiden was just going to be a temporary character.
Right.
You were just like, oh, it's just a new guy that we're going to stick around with for a little while. And you just kept waiting for Snake to come back, and Snake never came back. That's almost what every single person who responded to said as well. Although some people genuinely liked Raiden. I know some people said that he's actually one of their favorite characters in the series. So it's not like he's universally despised. Most people did find him whiny. But a vast majority of people quickly identified the fact that he is supposed to be a proxy of the player. And they pretty much embrace the idea that he is what a regular person would be like if they were put into this situation and they were supposed to be like Snake. So I feel like that got across really well. And thank you guys for reaching out with us and confirming that opinion. Also, some people, really admitted to thinking that he was a girl when they first saw him. And speaking of what
Fair
we're
enough.
seeing, just really either having a crush on him or just staring at that ass. Because, I mean, you gotta admit.
Pretty feminine.
The hips, man.
It's
Feminine
those hips.
tush.
But so we got a lot of responses about that, and you guys were really supportive. We're gonna go into it a lot later in a later episode. I just do want to call out one person. Myself is his screen name. Is actually spelled MEYESLPH, just because he's so damn supportive. He's always there in the comments board. He's always sharing his opinion, and that's really fantastic. And he said, and his kind of summarizes a lot of what we were talking about. He says, in my personal opinion, a lot of the supposedly golden rules of gaming culture are just stuff that game writers and old game magazines and early internet culture they're just harping on things that they personally believed until it was truth, because their fan base backed them up on it without thinking critically about it. And I think that brings up a really good point, because this is what I was talking about when I was first introduced to the Metal Gear series, that I didn't know a whole lot about the series back in the day. I just knew it was quote unquote controversial. And that's something that, like, the aura of Metal Gear, I feel like the Metal Gear series, people know more about the quote unquote controversies surrounding it more than they actually know about the game themselves. And this is possibly more relevant now than ever with the Phantom Pain and all the Konami crap happening. People might not know anything about the Metal Gear franchise, but they know that Konami are dicks. And they know that, the Phantom Pain, it's a troubled production and there's a lot of stuff going on. And I feel like that's something that has plagued the Metal Gear series but it's not necessarily that it's not. Maybe it's a little self-induced. Kojima, being the troll that he is, kind of plays into that. But I feel like a lot of the controversies, specifically the whole Raiden thing, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of media, and it's a lot of non-fans, just casual gamers on the peripheral of the series. They know that there's something that's supposed to be controversial because they read it in an article, they heard it from a friend, they read it on an internet board, and they kind of like play into that controversy to seem cool or to seem like they know about all games. Because it seems, like if you say, oh yeah, that was really stupid, it makes you sound like you know what you're talking about because you have like a gauge of like what's cool and what's not cool. And I feel like the Raiden thing is a perfect example of people who don't really play the game thinking that it's a controversial, but anyone who actually played the game for real, like through the first time, who was a fan of it, there's a 90% chance that they were just completely fine with it.
Not saying that like people that didn't like Raiden were wrong for that.
No, thank you, Dora. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, so obviously people are gonna like him and people are gonna hate him, and he's not as cool as Snake, and that's the point. But there's a lot of people who instantly hate Raiden who've like don't even really play the games. And they don't know why they hate him. They just say that he's lame because he looks like a girl, and that's all they got.
Yeah.
It's cool to hate on Raiden, even if you've only played 5 minutes of the game. So that would be like when I told my story of playing this game for the first time. I didn't know what was going on. I just know that it wasn't Snake. It was Raiden around. And if I was cool, it'd be like, yeah, that wasn't Snake. Fuck that game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I hadn't actually played through it. I didn't really know what the situation was, but it would have been easy for me to say, yeah, that guy's lame. I like Snake better just because I knew who Snake was and I didn't know who Raiden was.
Yeah.
It seems that's a lot of what happened.
I feel a lot of it stems from games being the one medium I've noticed where fans, viewers, players feel like they have some sort of ownership or that they should get to take part in the creation of the game. Like, they should get to dictate who the characters are. And I understand that feeling of ownership. Like, I really like Solid Snake, but I also trust the creators. I trust Kojima enough to do what he's going to do, and it's going to turn out fine.
Yeah, like he's doing it for a reason.
Right. And so it's not like there's a purpose to it, and I've always tried to give any creator the benefit of the doubt that I'm gonna trust what they're doing because they're the one making it and they're the ones who created the series or the character or whatever it happens to be. And games have this weird situation where a lot of the fans feel like they should get to dictate what happens, like what happened with we won't go into it, but the Mass Effect 3 ending. Yeah, you may not like that or whatever, but for some reason fans felt like they should get to dictate how the game ends, and regardless if it was a good ending or not, it's just games are weird in that people feel like they should get to decide what gets created.
Right.
Yeah, so we're almost getting out of the realm of Metal Gear at this point. We're getting into more of just the idea of fandom, fandom in games, and I think that, for better or for worse, the Metal Gear series probably has a more rabid fan base than any other franchise out there. I mean, like,
sure.
I mean, sure, everyone, or not everyone, but I mean, most people they're a fan of like Grand Theft Auto or or fucking Call of Duty. But I mean, they're not like diehard. There's not really like a diehard franchise thread to follow. People are obsessed with Metal Gear.
Yeah, we're talking about a series that's been around for nearly 30 years at this point, and headed by one creative. Headed by one creative, but several creatives working on it.
But I mean, like, people are crazy about this series. I mean, like, there's some people out there who what they do is they just get together and play the game and talk about it, and they make YouTube channels, and people.
That's how we started. Yeah. You know?
So how you? We've been having these these really heady conversations over here. In the meantime, you're getting some bullets in the ass.
I've gotten a few bullets in the old
keister.
In the old keister. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of rushing a little bit to get through the stupid bomb part that I dislike so much.
Yeah, we're in the nitty gritty here. I feel like, so far it's not so bad because you've managing to be very action oriented about it. But how much longer do you think this goes on for? This whole bomb section.
Let's see. I've already gotten 3, maybe 2. I'll check my map and it'll tell me.
Well, one of the things about the bombs too, which I think is interesting, because Josh, you were just saying that the games are headed by Kojima, but he's not necessarily the end all be all.
4.
Oh, right. Wow, nice. Like one example of that is that the idea of deactivating the bombs by freezing them. That was actually someone on the production team. He just had an idea. He used to have a sketchbook, and he would sketch things, and one thing is like a spray gun because he had heard about that, and he would give Kojima these sketchbooks, and then one day Kojima just saw the sketch of Raiden defusing a bomb by spraying it, and he was like, "That's in the game."
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So it's like it's really unfair, and Josh caught that. It's really unfair to attribute everything in this game to Kojima because he is very welcoming to outside opinions, and so. I really like that the Phantom Pain, when it's being made now, it's called Kojima Productions. It really opens up the idea that he is the figurehead, but it is a team. It is a lot of minds that bring these games together.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it the same as I think of like any sort of film. Like, yeah, it might be a Steven Spielberg film, but I understand that Steven Spielberg is not the one who did everything.
Invisible to the naked eye.
So, yeah.
Identify yourself.
What? Why?
No one's intimidated by Raiden. Nah.
Call me
You
Deep
mean
Throat.
from Shadow Moses?
You.
Oh, yeah, really. Okay, so just to call it out, this Deep Throat very audibly has a Russian accent,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's very obvious.
I mean, come on. One of the things that I'm most vocal about this game, and I am a little bit of a Gray Fox fanboy because he's one of the guys that got me really caught, like he really hooked me into the first Metal Gear. I fucking hate Deep Throat in this game. I fucking hate the character of Deep Throat in this game. And we'll talk about it as it happens, but it's so lazy. It is a lazy version. And it makes sense when we get to the end of the game why it's done the way it is. But it's actually, we'll get to this later, there was a very different idea of what Deep Throat was supposed to be. And it was supposed to be much more ambiguous, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, they're just talking about, that he should be dead.
Should be. Again, because this is technically Deep Throat's third appearance.
Jesus, yeah.
Because Deep Throat was in Solid Snake.
Yeah, I got that in mind. Actor.
Deep Throat, Solid Snake.
Deep Throat that snake. But Josh,
I'm 12.
I completely agree with you. I feel like it's like a lot with films. There's the idea of the auteur theory that there's always one mastermind behind a film, but that's really lazy.
I know a Guillermo del Toro film when I see one, but I understand that he is not the only one who did it, and I understand that it wouldn't happen with just him, and I'm sure he understands that too.
And we'll not get to it too much, but I mean, because this is a whole other thing. But like the auteur theory was really invented to be attributed to Alfred Hitchcock. And Alfred Hitchcock, every single script that he did, every movie that he did, he would not do it unless his wife signed off on it.
Oh, really?
She had final say in every single thing he did. If she didn't like it, it was out. And if she if she made a suggestion, boom, it was in. So, like, it's interesting that the very concept of the auteur theory was for someone who admittedly didn't have final say in his own films.
Man, they were just perforating your
I
ass.
know. I need to get out of this area.
Classic Raiden.
I just need to get...
What do I do? They're shooting at me. Raiden, run away from the bullets. Okay. I've run away from the bullets. I managed to avoid bleeding to death.
Hooray.
There we go. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I just got a trail of blood.
Clear. These Russian accents are great.
Don't start that again. The whole Russian accent thing. Let's not go down that dark tunnel.
I believe there's two voice actors who do the Russian accents, and one of them's like really like, most of them do the same one, where it's like a really go-getter like Russian dude, and one of them's like, there's nothing here. Like he's very lazy. It's really funny, but he's hard to find. Like there's only like, it happens rarely. There's one you get caught, and he goes on the microphone, he goes, I found him. He is here. And you're like, okay. You're not.
Well, I don't have to worry about that guy.
What's going on?
I can just calmly walk away from him. He's not going to chase you.
He just kind of saunters around.
It's that casual Russian.
He is now walking away from me.
The rare kind, the
Please
casual
send the
Russian.
backup.
I feel like Dora did miss out on the whole Russian accent thing.
I totally did.
Yeah. But I think we got a little hint of what it would be like.
Check it all, Raiden blood.
Is that all yours?
It's all mine.
Look at all that Kool-Aid.
Oh shit. Oh, some porno mags down there. Maybe it's good that I came back. Dang it.
Hmm?
Man, I haven't gotten caught this much in a really long time.
And I'm glad that we have a lot to talk about because this is exactly what I was trying to warn everyone about. That for the next couple episodes, it really is just going to be, it's really just going to be us going from room to room, finding little things to do. And one of the things that I really feel like took me out of this game is the tediousness of doing, like, and Josh, you said this in an earlier episode, that it's really weird that you're supposed to be this badass foxhound agent, and what you're doing is doing hide and go seek and defusing bombs, and it really feels really tedious. And that, and you're skipping a lot of this, Dora, and it's come up before this where every 5 seconds, Colonel he's calling you to be like, to crouch, press this button. You know, like,
yeah.
Here's how you aim with your gun. And it's a lot of tediousness. But a lot of that was supposed to be that the game is still holding your hand because it thinks this is the first time you've ever played a Metal Gear game.
Right. That sort of split of tanker versus
Big Shell.
Yeah.
The plant section.
Yeah, plant. Tanker versus plant.
But I think what's really interesting about that is that, again, I keep referring to the design document because, I mean, it's word from Kojima. He actually says in the design document that the game was supposed to be built within a flagging system which would determine from your memory card if you played Metal Gear 1. And if you had Metal Gear 1 data saved, it wouldn't do any of that. You would forgo all of that bullshit of Colonel, calling you every 5 seconds, and it would actually, it was supposed to speed up this section because this section,
really?
Yeah, this section is actually supposed to get this is almost like a tutorial level in a way, and that it gets you the idea of the mechanics and the layout of Big Shell. But if you had Metal Gear 1, originally, if you had the Metal Gear 1 data on there, it would let you breeze through this because it figures you already know how to do it. And there's actually
That's pretty cool.
There's actually a phrase in the design document that Kojima says that you should be able to turn all of this off because it would be, and he actually says it would be an annoying hindrance to people who've played Metal Gear 1.
Womp womp.
And because he fully realized that it was, and this is one of the things that annoyed the shit out of me when we played this for the first time.
Maybe it was a technological thing. They just couldn't pull it off at the time. I know that.
I always thought well, never mind. Go
Not
ahead.
until Mass Effect did I see this like importing of saves and changing the game based on what your previous save was in the other games and that sort of thing.
And we know
connecting
he's
games.
been flirting with it because of the Cycle Manus fight.
Yeah.
So you like to play Castlevania. I feel like that is something. Now, was it a technological hindrance, or was it because it feeds the purpose of the theme of the game?
Well, I was wondering that too. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Ground Zeroes, though. Like,
yeah, the
you know what I mean?
cause. Yeah,
Cause thing
cause.
is like,
Please, Kai, shut up.
But that's the argument of whether or not Ground Zeroes is actually its own game or if it's a demo.
In front of the federal hall.
You can make the argument that Ground Zeroes is a kind of a glorified demo. We'll save that conversation for Ground Zeroes.
okay.
And Rose, are you saving?
No, she called me to talk to us about the day we met.
We're talking about what a jackass
Raiden
is, yeah. It actually
My favorite subject.
Pay attention to the idea that they meant and they compared them. They're arguing over King Kong and Godzilla because that actually is a thematic thing that comes back at the end of the game. So I'm just flagging that right now. And this is the romantic shit that is tying back to Titanic again.
I would say that, like, I didn't mind Raiden until she
this,
came in.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so he's kind of getting annoying.
Yeah.
And why is he playing along with her? Like, why is he playing along with her, like, ridiculous,
Could you imagine Snake doing this?
overdramatic? No.
Yeah.
Well,
that might be part of it.
Strangely emotional.
Yeah.
He does things Snake won't, and Snake won't do things he will.
That's true.
You know who kind of does this?
Good point.
Big Boss.
Yeah.
Paramedic. But he
likes to joke too.
He humors her.
Yeah.
And that's very different from Snake, or Solid Snake.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that when we get to Snake Eater.
Solid's so detached, whereas Big Boss is a little more willing to, like, have fun.
Yeah,
You're
you are.
fucking right, Rose.
God damn
fucking
it.
right.
They're bombs,
And we'll
bro.
really get into Rose later. We're gonna save that for another episode. And speaking of saving it for another episode, thank you everyone for hanging around. This is, we're gonna try to hit the ground running with these new episodes of our Metal Gear Year. So thanks for sticking around. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your opinions. What do you think of all the bullshit we just went over? And we'll check you out in the next episode of our Metal Gear. Thanks, guys.
The only way to describe it, a kind of cyborg ninja complete with a sword.